Oh, this is Sunil Sunder Raj with Jersey Sporting News. This morning, I'm happy to be speaking with Rowan University Profs field hockey midfielder Kristiina Castagnola, and now an official graduate of Rowan University. And most importantly, back-to-back New Jersey Athletic Conference Female Athlete of the Year. Once again, Kristiina, thank you for taking time out. Congratulations on your success at Rowan University.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. When you hear that, it said winning back-to-back NJAC, Female Athlete of the Year awards. I mean, that's gonna be very, fulfilling, knowing that your hard work paid off, Kristiina.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the highest honor you can get within the conference. And again, we're such a competitive conference. Every sport from every school has such great competitors. So to be named like the top one for the female athletes is such an honor.
Yeah, I think I want to get right into it, and just in terms of women in sports, and just being able to set that example, not only for like for your rest of the team, the underclassmen, but also for those younger girls out there, who are playing sports as well, field hockey, any other sports. That's just again, that's gonna be rewarding, Christina.
Yeah, 100%. Especially because I've had like kids come up to me and like just say how much of an inspiration I am to them, which in
Hmm.
itself is so humbling. Um, because you never like kind of think of that stuff when you first pick up a field hockey
Yeah.
stick, whatever sport you play. You don't
Yeah.
anticipate that. And so it's awesome, especially because it's just cool and such an honor to be like a role model for younger girls. Even
Hmm.
if they don't pick up field hockey, they recognize like the drive and like the work ethic and things like that. So it's really cool.
Before we come on the air, I talked about the background. It's Kristiina Castagnola, number 7, Rowan, field hockey, just representing the university. Putting that jersey on. What did that said represent to you? Said, and how much I mean that again, that personal gratification. Just knowing to go out there every time and take the field with your classmates.
I mean,
I mean your teammates. Excuse me. Yeah.
no, fair enough.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, it meant everything, especially transferring and kind of getting to Rowan, not really sure like where I was going to be and what was going to happen, a lot of
Yeah.
unknowns, and for it to end the way it did, and to get the opportunities I did. I mean, I never took it for granted,
Yeah.
especially with like things like COVID and like not sure if
Mhm.
we're gonna play. But getting the opportunity again to play not only with like my teammates, but like them becoming like my best friends, like my go-tos. So it was really just like going to battle with people that you love and respect so much, each and every day. And it was just, it really, again, like it's such an honor. It's such like a privilege you don't realize you get until like it's starting to kind of like dwindle away because like,
Yeah.
eligibility forever. So, but no, it was awesome. And it was such an honor. I mean, representing Rowan as a whole, not even just the field hockey program, it's super humbling. It's super you can feel it, and it's not
Yeah.
like pressure that you feel bad. It's like this like opportunity and this like you get to do this.
Yeah.
Uh, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, I can see the pride and joy that you take, and you made such a seamless transition from Penn State to Rowan University. Can you talk about that first time stepping on campus, and then of course the field hockey field? What was flowing through your mind, Christina?
Well, the first thing I like walked in and I was like, wow, brown and gold? Are we sure? Um, which I was like, all right, like whatever, sounds good to me.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, the first time walking on, it felt like really, it felt like home. Like the first minute I met Coach Michelle and meeting other staff members within the department, it just felt like we had already known each other for so long, which was so weird
Hmm.
because it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, a little nerve-wracking because although, like, it's only about, like, 20 minutes from home, it's still just,
Hmm.
like, a new place and new, like, people and new just everything, but it it seamlessly happened, like, it just felt like one day I wasn't at Rona and the next day I was, and it
Yeah.
didn't feel that different, but it did for, like, maybe a little bit. Then
Hmm.
after that, I just felt like I hit the ground running, and that's just because of the people I met and the people who just welcomed me, like, the team members, made it so easy for me to just get there and like play field hockey. It wasn't anything of like, oh, she's coming in, like what's gonna happen? It
Yeah.
was like, oh, she's coming in, like how can we help her feel comfortable here? How can we make it easy? And I just felt that right from the start. So it was really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. And just the consistency, I said, winning every season, and the 2022 season was magical, Christina. I mean, 21-2, 6-0 in the NJAC, 11-1 at home, 10-0 away. You guys won your first 14 games before falling to third ranked Salisbury 3-2. What I mean, just to, get all to that kind of hot start, and just you guys are cranking out every single time. But
Mhm.
again, that I think that experience factor really kicked in for you guys, especially this past year.
Yeah, I mean 100%. And especially with my senior class, I think we've only accumulated maybe 10 losses. I'm not
Hmm.
positive, but having that like standard, that like very high standard of how
Yeah.
it isn't an up for grabs game. It's always a win. It's always finding a way to grit it out. And yeah, we've had some losses, but those losses taught us so much on how
Hmm.
to get better and how to essentially avoid another loss.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been quite the experience. And yeah, like just being like in the program in these tough games with like my senior class, it made it easier and it took a little pressure off of like the underclassmen too, like knowing that it's not just on them, it's all of us and knowing like it's a group effort versus like one individual.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that translated, of course, into the NJAC tournament, defeated Montclair State in the semi 6-1, but then a very close championship game against TCNJ,
Mhm.
a 1-0 victory, at say Richard Walker Stadium. Talk about that game per se, and just, you talked about grit, determination. Obviously, that filtered through, but you guys were able to, uh, overcome that and, come out on top. Just talk about that, Christina.
Yeah, I mean, listen, so when we originally played TCNJ in season, like regular season game,
Mhm.
we beat them by a good amount and their head coach, I mean, there's a reason why she is so good and why she's won a national championship. It's because she knows how to make adjustments.
Mhm.
Um, and she found a way to like switch her lineup, kind of figure out what was gonna help them beat us. And like massive respect to that because again, like it's hard to go back against a team that you just lost 5-0 to, and
Mhm.
then hold them to just a 1-0 game. But of
Yeah.
course, my coach made the same adjustments, right? Like she's looking at all the factors. And again, with us having that experience, it's what really led us to then holding that shutout, along with knowing when to capitalize on our opportunities. I mean, we were shooting, but they weren't going in. We weren't getting as many shooting opportunities like we had in the previous matchup against them. And
Mhm.
so when it came time for the stroke, like knowing like this is important and like who's going up for it. And of course, like Jewel Patron like finished on point and
Mhm.
really took advantage of the opportunity. And then all of us like supporting her in that aspect of, hey, all right, you finished on this end. Now how do we keep the ball out of their or out of our net?
Yeah.
And finish this game out. And that's really what happened. It was really an all around team effort. And again, like having that grit and determination and knowing we've been there before and
Yeah.
just coming out on the other side with the W.
Yeah, that's terrific. And then moving on to the NCAA, I said tournament championships, where you guys defeated Christopher Newport, ranked number 16, 4-0, fifth ranked Messiah 3-1, and then before falling to Middlebury 4-0 in the semifinals. But a deep run, that the fact that, I mean, that's where that's where you want to end up is in the NCAA tournament. And the fact that you guys were at home, familiar territory and surroundings, I'm
Mhm.
sure like that really, brought a lot of extra motivation and really got you guys amped up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when it was announced that it was going to be in Glassboro, like at our home turf, I mean,
Hmm.
immediately that pressure starts. You don't realize it, but it starts to build like
Yeah.
we need to win. We want to host everything. So in season, like as much as we made little goals, like that's in the back of your head the whole time. Like we need to make the final four.
Yeah.
Not just because that's the standard we have with this program, but again, like that opportunity to play on your home turf in a final four game, that doesn't
Yeah.
happen. That's
Yeah.
extremely rare in all sports because all those sites are predetermined, even in the pros. And so to have a home game with your home fans, your home community. I
Hmm.
mean, it's nothing I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was really cool. It was awesome. Of course, unfortunately, like falling in the end to Middlebury, but
Yeah.
the experience was something that I know all of us will remember forever because again, like
Yeah.
when's the next time it's going to be hosted in Glassboro?
That's true. Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that is a great point you made. And you mentioned before again, and you reiterate the experience factor, and the future is set up very brightly for Rowan University field hockey because when you look at it, you know, two juniors, 12 sophomores, and then of course the freshmen that'll be moving up now to sophomore year, the incoming freshman, say class. Uh, there's gonna be no drop off here, for years to come here.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I mean, especially because now these underclassmen gotten the experiences that us upperclassmen had.
Yeah.
It sets it up for like a really good seasons to come.
Yeah. Hey, a dynamic offense, and then of course on the flip side, the defense. Holding opponents, I think, to a goal per game. It said you led the team 21 goals, 10 assists, 52 points. You talked about Julia Patron. Well, actually, she was leading scorer with 24 goals. Vanessa Di Donato, 16 goals, and then on the back end. Again, your outstanding goalie and Abby Hainsworth. Just I mean, as you said, it's a collective effort, it's a team effort. But when you talk about some of these players and their contributions, to the team, and really again being that difference maker. I mean, that just had to again be very satisfying just to see that on both ends here. Can you talk about that, Kristiina?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is really satisfying when it's like as a unit, you're working so well together and that your
Hmm.
offense is doing what they need to do and your defense is doing what they need to do. And that doesn't mean it's just your forwards only scoring and your back is only preventing defense or is providing defense or your goalie is the only one making the save. Like it's an all around group effort. And I think that's what made us so successful. And
Hmm.
then of course you have it not just being one person doing all the scoring. You don't just have one person doing all the defense.
Yeah.
And that's what made us so successful this season and seasons prior. And it's what's going to make us so successful in seasons to come. So again, it's going to be so exciting to see. But it's
Yeah.
what made this year so special. It wasn't just on one person.
Yeah.
And again, that's what makes I mean, it's a team sport for a reason. So
That's true.
it's
That's
fun.
true. Yeah, you're right. You have to have that chemistry, that cohesiveness, and obviously you guys were able to build that throughout the years. And you mentioned about 2020 season being canceled due to COVID. Again before that, you guys were on a roll. I mean, 2018, it said was just again another uh, incredible year. And then 2019, but then coming back the following year after COVID in 21, 18-3, undefeated in the NJAC, 10-1 at home, 8-1 away. I mean, again, it just, be able to bounce back from, I mean, because that's not easy. I mean, I said I've covered, of course, high school sports, college sports, but to lose a season is just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's got the worst feeling. It's got to be the pits, but then, chalk it up as an experience, and then you come back and try to again pick up where you left off the year before, Kristiina.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it had to do with just, like, the group and the team we had at that time.
Hmm.
Everyone was so determined and on the same minds, like, wavelength essentially of, like, what we wanted to accomplish and that we knew this wasn't forever. I mean, that's just all we kept
Yeah.
saying, like, "This break isn't forever, like, we will have a chance next year, and we need to be as ready as we can be for it because we're
Yeah.
a good team right now, and we can be so great." And I think again, that's such that collaboration of everybody wanting the same thing and going for the same goal. And like
Yeah.
because of that, it made us so strong, mentally as well as physically, because we were working harder than ever. Because you're like, how often do you get a full year to practice and get yourself together for the season?
Yeah.
With essentially an identical team that you're gonna have the next year with a few added players. It just
Hmm.
doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
Um, so we all viewed it as like our red shirt year.
Yeah.
Made it like, all right, this is our year of practice. Like, we've got
Yeah.
this. It doesn't mean it wasn't hard, but it was obviously we really made it happen then so we could be better in the future. And that's been evident the past 2 years.
Yeah, no, that's again, that's great to hear. I wanted to get the accolades, the honors are numerous, but I'm going to rattle off a couple of them. But three-time All-American, Rowan's all-time leading scorer with 163 points. Broke the record of 148 set by Daniel Miranda on Senior Day. I mean, let's just go right there. Just I mean, when that I mean, just what comes to your mind, Kristiina, just in terms of being the all-time leading scorer, as said in Rowan University field hockey history?
Um, Honestly, the first thing I think of is like all the people that like set me up to like get a goal.
Yeah.
You think of like all the people you played with and like how
Yeah.
that was even just really happened.
Yeah.
In high school, I played left back. I didn't even get past the 50. I had like one goal in 4 years. I never scored ever in my life, and I never like thought of
Yeah.
myself as a goal scorer. So to
Mhm.
then go to the opposite end of that spectrum and be the leading scorer, it just felt surreal. And I was like, if I told 18-year-old me this would happen, she would be a little confused and be like, wait, we're not
Yeah.
defense? Like we're passing the 50, which is in itself is so cool. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think of just like all the people I played with and who helped me make it happen. Because again, like, yeah, I get the finish and I get the goals and whatever points that go along with it, but it's not
Mhm.
just me.
Yeah.
And it makes me happy because I think of all the alumni and all the great people I've gotten to play with. I mean, like Rachel Galante and Julie Johnson, all Americans, my quote unquote freshman year. So my first
Mhm.
year
Yeah.
at Rowan. And just like how they would set me up for opportunities in the circle, and then just people continuing on from that, just great players. And it's just an honor because again, like not many people get to be etched in their university's history, and it's just
Yeah.
a very cool piece to have for myself.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you. And Jack midfielder of the year, NFHCA Region 4 Player of the Year, second selection to the All American First Team, second consecutive NCAA tournament semifinal appearance. I mean, just the accolades and achievements are numerous. Hey, I'm just wondering, like when you are out there on the field, beforehand, and then I always ask athletes, what's transpiring through your mind as you're out there on the field against the opposition? And, just talk about playing that midfielder position as well, Kristiina.
Yeah, so like with playing and when I am playing, there's a lot of thoughts going on, but then none at
Yeah.
all, if that makes sense. Like it's just a lot of like
Yeah.
that muscle memory and practice you've been doing, even if it's like not the muscle memory people think of, which is like how you hit the ball. That's muscle memory after
Hmm.
a while. But like the knowing where to drop, knowing where to be, where do I pop into space for someone else? Like how can I continue to move? And then defensively, where do I go? What do I say?
Hmm.
There's a lot going through my mind, but a lot of the times it just felt like a song was playing, and it was kind of like going, like I was just
Yeah.
playing. Like it's so yeah, there's moments where I'm like, "Oh, I should probably do this," but sometimes I'll do stuff and I'll be like, "Oh, that's this act." I'm like, "That was cool.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?" But yeah, I mean, in the game, it's just like pure bliss. I don't know. It's my favorite part of
Yeah.
the day. I mean, it was always just like something where like everything melted away and it was just like everything that mattered was like the next pass, the next shot, the next cut, the next defensive drop. And
Yeah.
so when you're playing, especially in the midfield, it's just your head on a swivel and like constantly just going.
Yeah. No, again, that's just amazing to hear. I'm just wondering, preparing for a season. You talked about, back to COVID, like, having that full year. But, when you're, the strength and conditioning, it's field hockey is still a very physical game. So I'm just wondering, just to get your body mentally, physically right, set for a season, talk about that. And just to adding a layer to that, did you guys know heading into that final season, into the 2022 season, that this could be a team that makes that deep run, can win an NJAC, as said, regular season and tournament, title, and then really push that, as said, envelope also in the NCAA tournament.
Um, so one to start off with your first question
Yeah.
regarding the strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
We I go to a guy, his name's Garnell Peters. He's amazing. He's been training me since I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
It's like that simple training, along with like you get a workout packet that of course like helps you like
Yeah.
kind of stay on track.
Hmm.
Which I think is so important. I think for every athlete, if you're not like lifting is so important. And I think people think lifting is like just getting bulky, but it actually really helps with your endurance and like
Yeah.
your first step, like your turns, like anything like that. So I think it's extremely important. It's stuff I worked on like every single day, if not twice
Mhm.
a day, because I was just so driven to be like the best I could be, not just for myself and like what I could potentially like receive award wise,
Yeah.
but because like I wanted to be the best player like for my teammates. Like I wanted to be able to go more than 60 minutes so we can have that opportunity. But along with that, and like this season, especially this one, I mean, we had like a good idea that we could go as far as we did,
Mhm.
especially because we only graduated 2 seniors. The rest of the starting lineup was the same for the most
Mhm.
part. So we had a good idea that it was possible, especially because we did it with that team just 1 year prior, and that team prior, was just as good as the one we had this year, and this year we really, like, rose to the occasion, and again, like, it's just that thing, it's that mindset of, like, we're to the higher standard, like, we should be there, like, we
Yeah.
are supposed to be there, it's our goal to be there, and, like, what does that take to do that to get there again? And so, yeah, I mean, we had an inkling, but you don't wanna jinx it, you know? Like, all of us
Yeah.
sports people, we all have our little things, and
Yeah.
so we kinda knew it in the back of our head, but it wasn't something we talked about, like, a lot.
I wanted to ask you, it's never easy to take that jersey off for the last time. I'm wondering, it's very emotional. Like, again, all the time that, blood, sweat, and tears, I said the training. I mean, what was that moment when I mean, and just being around your teammates as well and your coaches?
I mean, on that last day, I definitely sat in that jersey until, like, midnight and would not,
Yeah.
like, take it off,
Yeah.
which is, like, crazy in itself, but I was just like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
fine." But, that last, like, moment, especially, of course, it's, like it's heartbreaking in itself no matter what, even if we didn't lose and we kept going on, and the last game is never easy, win or lose, because it's the end of an era, like, that's all we
Yeah.
kept saying, like, that was it. Not that we're
Yeah.
not involved in field hockey for years to come and, like, playing, but, like, that's the only time you get to do something like that.
Hmm.
So definitely, like, in the moment, like, tears were flowing, like, everyone was
Yeah.
screaming out their "I love yous" to each other,
Yeah.
like, just saying we're so appreciative, but especially
Yeah.
with the senior class because I was so close to them. I mean, they've been my ride or die since day one. So it's extra special because I don't think everyone gets to have a class that is that close. Um,
Mhm.
and so extremely difficult, but also weirdly poetic. We just talked about it. We were like, this is how it was supposed to be, and that's just how it is. And we're
Yeah.
not upset with how it went or like what our experience was. We're just so happy that we have these memories that are about to last or about to. They really are gonna last us a lifetime.
Yeah.
We will definitely be in like our 50s and 60s still talking about.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a hard day. But I mean, all good things have to come to an end, so another door can open for you. So that's just how we kept
Yeah.
viewing.
Yeah. No, it's a great attitude. And you talked about this coaching staff, just a fabulous coaching staff is led by head coach Michelle Andre, assistant coaches Aaron Small, Daniel Altersitz, Dana Dave Vincenz, speed and strength and agility coach Garnell Peters. I mean, you talk about, I mean, just again, just tremendous people, and just like, really like to have that structure in place,
Mm,
and people that truly cared about, I said, the team, and having them all on the same page. But what I mean, just when you look at that, those names, and just what the leadership they brought to the table.
mm. I mean, they are the best coaching staff I've ever had the
Yeah.
pleasure to work with. They're the type of coaches, and they all bring different assets, right? And
Hmm.
that's what you want in a coaching staff. You want everyone to have something different that can help everyone in a different way, whether they coach in a
Yeah.
different way that works for you. They know a certain skill that the other coach doesn't know, and that's the best part of it. It's such a collaboration. Um, I know wholeheartedly if we did not have them, like we were not making it as far as we did. I mean,
Hmm.
the practices they set up for us, the amount of how much they trusted us and we felt that, the amount of how much they let it be a player's game as much as like they're in charge of us, it never felt like that. It felt like it was such a collaboration from day one of, hey, like this corner's not working. What can we do to fix it? Or do you see something that I don't see? What is your thoughts? Like you call it. and it's been like that for the past 4 years that I was on the team. And just I've been like super grateful for that because you don't get that often. And so when you have people that are so willing to work with you as a player and really take the time out of their day, whether it's to make you individually better, the team better, a group better, whether it's like the defense, offense, midfield, goalies, whatever it is, you don't get to be as good as Rowan has been without coaches like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, I wanted to ask you about the administration, athletic department president, Dr. Ali A. Hushman, athletic director, Dr. John Giannini, as well as the students and community there at Rowan University. Again, just, you know, you talk about just first class and just in terms of that support for the Rowan University field hockey team, but just talk about, through this journey, what they've meant as well.
I mean, the best thing about Rowan University is just how close everyone is,
Hmm.
and how invested everyone is. Everyone knows your name,
Yeah.
whether it's in the athletic department or outside. People know you when you walk around because they're so invested and they want the best for you. Even outside of athletics and other departments, everyone is really good about getting to know each other and trying their
Hmm.
best to like be involved in whatever they can be so we can continue to have like this close knit community that we have. Um, of course, Dr. Giannini is amazing. He has supported the field hockey program from day one since he's gotten here and has done so many great things for us. And every other team in the athletic department. It's nice to know that the essentially really the boss of the athletic department
Yeah.
is invested in the individual as much as like your coach is.
Yeah.
And then of course, like President Ali Hushman, I mean, he's great. Again, like has supported our athletics from the get-go and understands just how important the experience of like student athlete is just as important as like the rest of the university. And same bit, he's like that with every department.
Yeah.
And that's a reason why he got reelected again because people love what he's doing. People love him. He's so important to the growth of Rowan, and that's why it's just gotten so big in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Um, so having support from them and of course other coaches within the department and other departments in general have
Hmm.
really helped make our athletics department and then especially our field hockey program from my own experience so good and such a community. So
Yeah.
again, really appreciative of it.
Yeah, it's great to hear. As you know, Christine, it's just not being an athlete; it's being a student athlete. You've definitely been able to flourish in the classroom. So again, getting that time management organization down pat. Named to the college sports communications academic all district at large team for a second time. The Phil Sid academic all area field hockey performer of the year for a second consecutive season. Honors Rowan's 2023 New Jersey Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women top student athlete and the first female in Rowan Profs athletics history to earn National Player of the Year honors. I mean, boy, I tell you, it's just, I mean, it's a laundry list, but it's well deserved. And just like the fact that, you put in that time, as said in the classroom and to see it again,
Mm.
the results that it yielded. I mean, that's just like, I see you smiling. Just it really, I mean, it's just, that's not easy to bounce that out. I mean, it takes, a lot of effort, said a lot of persistence, perseverance. Just talk about being able to put, that together and just being able to, get in the classroom. That really, said played a significant role as well.
I mean, 100%, because at the end of the day, I wish I could, but I have not graduated with a field hockey degree. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, listen, and again, the department sets you up so well to make sure that you can stay organized, but a lot of it is just like trial and error of like what works for you. And so throughout my collegiate career, I figured out like what works best for me so I can stay on top of my academics.
Hmm.
And I've been so fortunate that we're again in a program that emphasizes academics over athletics because again, none of
Yeah.
us are graduating with a degree in our sport as much as again
Yeah.
we'd all love to because that would be an easy A plus. But it's been like quite a ride and like again super grateful because I know like as in high school I wasn't like the greatest academic person just
Yeah.
be average and then just being able to really excel in the classroom at this school. I mean, it really attests to like the professors at Rowan as well, and
Mhm.
just how much they care about, again, the individual and
Yeah.
every single person, wanting them to succeed because they don't want you to fail. They want you to learn and become a more well-rounded individual, especially in the field that you want to study.
Yeah.
Um, and it's been really awesome. I mean, I actually just got named a first team All-America for the our academic All-America literally yesterday, and even that I was like,
Congrats. Yeah.
so I got named that too, and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's a that's crazy." Like, I never would have 18-year-old me would be like, "Really?" Uh, and again, it just attests to, like, the athletics department, the professors at Rowan, and just, like, what
Yeah.
they're able to really pull out of us and make us be the best player, student, and then just person we can
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, it really setting you up, for your career, for your life in general. And it said NFHCA, National Field Hockey Coaches Association Division Three Player of the Year, Honda Division Three Field Hockey Athlete of the Year. You made it to the National Academic Squad, All Academic Honorable Mention in NJAC, and I thought, uh, the Rowan Scholar Athlete distinction. This one, I thought it was the most maybe poignant is Rowan's Dr. Shirley O'Day Award for outstanding athletic achievement, leadership in women's sports and campus cooperation, and a general good attitude. And inducted into the Chi Alpha Sigma National College and Athlete Honors Society. But talk about that per se, the Dr. Shirley O'Day Award.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that was last year was the second time that I received that award, and it's such an honor because it's selected by all the coaches. Um,
Hmm.
and that's not just like your coach, it's every coach in the department plus a few other department heads who are really like honing in on the student athletes that they feel like are really making an impact, whether it's on their team or somewhere on campus or in the classroom,
Hmm.
wherever it is. And it's such an honor again because it's named after one of our alum who was just an all around amazing person who really made a difference at Rowan. So to be named to that award twice, it's such an honor because again, it's coaches that maybe I don't interact with a lot also think so highly of me in that regard, and it's
Hmm.
extremely, extremely kind. And again, I'm so honored about it because it's just another thing that kind of makes me know that I'm like kind of on the right track of everything
Yeah.
I'm doing. So again, I'm super appreciative of it.
Yeah, very prestigious honor. I said again, uh, just leading by example. And it said that that's the best. And it said received a bachelor's degree in communication studies, pursuing a master's degree, higher education administration. For you, I just have a couple more. What for you? Some of the intangibles. You've been playing field hockey for so long. What is it about the sport that makes it so unique and special to play, Christina?
To me, field hockey is so special because of how creative it can be. With field hockey, and even when I was playing in high school, to now, the rules have like changed so much, and there's new
Hmm.
skills that have been created because someone somewhere out there in their backyard was like, "Ooh, this might be a cool trick."
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
learned. And I feel like I don't know for sure, but I feel like that's not happening a lot in a lot of other sports. And I just love how creative you can be and just how at the same time simplistic it can be and easy. I always say field hockey is just a ton of pull rights, which is like a basic skill you learn when you first start growing up. And I was like, and then you
Mhm.
sprinkle on all the little sparkles that makes it a little more fancy.
Yeah.
But I'm completely in love with the fact of how much it is a team sport and how like the build up to getting a goal or the build up to making a stop, it's not just one person's making this incredible play. I mean, listen, it happens every once in a while where someone takes it coast to
Yeah.
coast, goes.
Yeah.
But even when they do something like that, that's because people off ball are doing what they're supposed to do and making things happen and making the defense shift a certain way and vice versa. And again, I'm such a team sport person.
Yeah.
Uh, so I've been just obsessed with it the minute I picked up my first field hockey stick and I never put it down since.
Yeah, that's beautiful to hear. Hey, I wanted to pivot to your family because I'm sure you got showing the love, like just what they meant to you throughout this athletic journey as well.
Yeah, I mean, my family. just how you said it means the world to me.
Yeah.
They have literally followed me all over to see my games. No matter how near or far, of course, the Glassboro games are the easier ones.
Yeah.
Or like in Stockton,
Yeah.
but they have supported me and made it possible. I mean, some of the big things I think people don't talk about is just how much money my parents really did have to pay for me to play field hockey, and I'm so
Mhm.
appreciative of that. I, like, spoke to them about it. I was like, "I don't think you realize how many opportunities you really gave me because you were able to get me that next stick I needed or able to pay for that extra lesson that was gonna allow me to be better as a player."
Mhm.
Um, and then along with just, like, that continuous emotional support they were giving me whenever I was having a rough day, or even
Yeah.
when I was on my highest, like, peak,
Yeah.
and they were just like, "Hey, like, that's still amazing," and just, like, always being there for me in every aspect I could have asked for. So, I mean, I couldn't have done this without them because, I mean, I would be doing it alone, and I think, especially with family, we just sometimes I think we forget just how much just the act of showing up is so important, and so I've
Yeah.
always been so appreciative of that.
Yeah, I think those sacrifices, you can't really put a price tag on 'em. They're just, so worthwhile. Okay, from Voorhees, attended Eastern Regional High School, earned all conference, all state honors, state and school champions 4 times, selected a team captain, received the Unsung Hero Award. When you look back on those times at Eastern Regional High School, even though it's your room that several years ago, but what comes to your mind here, Christina?
I mean, the first thing I think of especially is the high standards that we had there as a program. When I was in high
Hmm.
school, I never lost a single game. And that was because of the standards that our coach, Danielle Heilig, instilled in us right from the get-go.
Hmm.
She accepted nothing less than perfect with us. And it was hard some days, but it's what made us so good. It's what made us such an elite program. I mean, we were ranked #1 in the country the entirety of my career, along with other like big things. Like we were TOC champions every year, except for the one year when Hurricane Sandy had hit and we
Hmm.
couldn't play the game. But other than that, like I think of just being a part of like a legacy. Um, Eastern's won 23 state championships in a row. And just to know that I was a part of that history at some point in time is just so
Hmm.
amazing to me because it's just something we all like, even people who are older than me or younger than me, we all share the same experience in having that type of win, those types of seasons, that type of coaching.
Yeah.
Um, and really, when I look back, I just think of like, along, of course, you think of all the success, but I just think of like all the great players I got to play with. I played with people that played on the USA team. I played with people who went across the country and were all at all different levels and different divisions of field hockey
Yeah.
in college, and just how much I learned from them and the friendships I made that I still talk to those people to this day because we're all still involved in the sport again in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's great to see it, again, that community and, growing the sport. Yeah, just again, just a testament to your hard work. And talking about the New Jersey Athletic Conference D3, I think what really I think it's just as good and probably one of the best conferences across the country.
Mhm.
Talk about the level of competition and going up against as said other teams, other players within the conference.
Um, I really believe that the NJAC is one of the best conferences in the country, if not the best. Every year we have people ranked within the like top 25. And it's just so nice to have because to think it's really rare for people to have right in their backyard or in their state, nonetheless. Teams that are consistently competitive across the board.
Hmm.
Um, it's such a tough conference with such great competition, with such great players from all over.
Yeah.
But I think what I love the most about it is that a lot of the teams have New Jersey kids, and
Yeah.
say like the least, like that is showing that New Jersey in itself is doing something right field hockey wise because
Yeah.
they're constantly playing for these top teams.
Yeah.
And going up against them, you think of course, it's always a rivalry. There isn't just one school at this point because your conference, it's every game is a big game.
Yeah.
Especially because there's always something to prove because you're trying to make up for what happened last year. You consistently are always playing these teams every year and everything changes, maybe with some like different players, but it's the same mindset.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, I've really enjoyed my time playing this conference and playing against these people and just getting the opportunity to just like see how great New Jersey field hockey has continued to be over the years.
Yeah. That's terrific. Hey, I was wondering when you're growing up, Christina, was it always field hockey? Or are there any other sports that you played as well?
I played like everything under the sun. My parents put
Okay.
me in like everything just because I asked. Um, I played like some I played softball, I played soccer, I
Yeah.
played tennis, I did ice skating, gymnastics. Uh, Tried basketball, but I'm only 5 foot, so that was a quick.
I know that's what I was saying. I have the utmost respect for you. I'm like, you're out there and playing against, said girls who are taller than you, more
Mm.
physical, but heck, that didn't prevent you again from, dominating, on the field hockey field.
Yeah, it's
It's yeah, go ahead.
no, no.
Yeah.
I said it's just funny. 'Cause I always think about
Yeah.
that. I'm like, wow, like I'm kind of really short.
So when was it that you really made that, that field hockey was, the primary sport for you, Christina?
It was right around like seventh, eighth grade.
Okay.
It's like the craziest thing, but I tried out for my middle school soccer team and they cut me.
Hmm.
They're like, oh, like, no, like soccer's not for you. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'll show them. And then I was like, still play sport. And so like the next day I just went over to the field hockey tryouts and I was like, do you guys still need anyone? I'll play. And the rest was history. Like I never put my stick down after that. And that was like one of the first times I ever played field hockey too. So it was really cool and nice of them
Yeah.
to take me.
Yeah, that's a great story. That's so unique to hear that. I think it provides a lot of inspiration, said for kids out there because a lot of kids do get cut from teams, and then they have to find another sport to participate in. And it's great to see that you were able again to overcome said that obstacle. Hey, I think you're in a perfect spot, Christina. As we talked about younger athletes out there, girls who are playing sports, and you know how competitive it's out there. And of course we have social media, which has its pros and cons, but everybody's posting their highlight videos, and it just you're trying to separate yourself from the rest of the competition. So I think, you've built up so much experience, through playing, it said youth, sports, high school, college now. What would you say to the younger athletes and girls out there?
I would just say like keep grinding it out. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there, really, truly, especially when it's coming time for recruiting.
Hmm.
If you don't reach out or if you don't put yourself out there, you're always going to be left with what ifs.
Yeah.
And that's even with like playing. I think a lot of the times we have those moments where we're nervous to maybe do a skill because we don't know if it's going to work, but you won't know it's going to work unless you try it. And it's a
Yeah.
lot of practice, a lot of like errors and a lot of mistakes, but it's what you do after the mistake that really matters. And so for again, younger kids out there, I'd say just keep playing, keep a stick in your hand, just always embrace the grind because that's when
Hmm.
you're going to do your best work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's sound advice. It is a grind, and you have to stick with it. If you don't know what the outcome is, and where you might end up potentially. And hey, what's so admirable about you is that you're staying close to the Rowan University field hockey team, volunteer assistant coach. I think you're also working in community alumni relations as well. You're real. I mean, you're giving back, which again, that is again fabulous to see. Talk about. I mean, that's so meaningful. I'm sure for you as well.
Yeah, 100%. I am super grateful to get the opportunity to give back to Rowan because
Yeah.
it's done so much for me. And so one to be able to like right now be a volunteer assistant and had this spring to really give back to the program that again has done so much for me was super satisfying, and in itself, like being able to help the game grow with them.
Mhm.
And then just working with the university again, like I have such pride. And although on that first day I was like brown and gold, now it's like everything I
Yeah,
wear. I'm so proud of the colors. I'm so proud to tell people I'll say I'm from Rowan, but I went to Rowan
yeah, yeah,
again because of the experiences I've had and the opportunities that have been afforded to me. So it's amazing. I'm so, so grateful to have the opportunity.
yeah. Again, that's I said I enjoy hearing that, and it's just again uh great to hear. But okay, Christina, you get the final word and message here. Well, again, well deserved. Uh, all the respect to for family, friends, teammates, coaches. Uh, Rowan University, said the administration, athletic department, student body. I mean, I said, and even Eastern Regional High School, I know there are a lot of people that you want to thank. So I definitely wanted to give you the floor here and then.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every single one of those departments and people and programs that you just mentioned, I'm so thankful for it because I wouldn't be the player or person that I am today without it. I'm so grateful to just the sport of field hockey because it's really molded me into somebody that can really, really, really make a difference. Whether it's in the sport and or whatever job I work in or whatever space I go into, it's sports are just so important in like molding people into like
Mhm.
learning these different traits they need. And of course, like a huge thank you again to like my family for being there for me from day one, and then everyone at Rowan like believing in me because I think the last thing that's so forgotten is just you just need one person to believe in you for something to happen. And so when I got to Rowan, I didn't even believe in myself. I was just happy to be there and that someone would take me. And then to have a coaching staff and teammates and a community that was really behind me right from the jump. I couldn't do what I've done without them. So again, of course, so appreciative of it. And my thank you.
And no, again, just well said. And hey, just a true honor and privilege being to speak with you, Christina. Congrats on your historic success, at Rowan University on the
Thank
Profs field hockey team, and again as a student as well. And wishing you continued success.
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.